a video on these tins of beef bolognese. Why can't I say that? Let's just give up. So, I make my own beef ragu. Well, it's not always beef ragu. I also made duck ragu. And I kind of assumed, stupidly, that you'd just be able to buy tins or jars of beef ragu, but you can't really. But you can buy these tins, and they're not kind of like available in all supermarkets. So I kind of thought we'd be able to do a bit of a comparison. We'd be able to do like cheap supermarket, right the way up to expensive supermarket, hence the Marks and Spencers. And I kind of thought I'd be able to get some in Waitrose as well, but they didn't have any in Waitrose, which was a little bit disappointing. So, and they didn't have any in the cheaper supermarkets. So we're kind of going on Sainsbury's, which is medium to high end supermarket, in my opinion. And then M&S, which is kind of like up there with the supermarkets. Although it's the food hall's not always been a thing at Marks and Spencers, but it's people think it's posh. So I kind of thought we'll do a bit of a taste test, and then because I couldn't buy these were from Asda, because I couldn't buy beef bolognese in Asda, I kind of picked up some stewed steak and kind of some minced beef in onions and gravy, which won't be that dissimilar from these, but these will be tomato based and these will be gravy based, and they'll got some oregano in those, and they'll just have stewed steak. So, but I kind of thought, well, maybe we could actually turn one of those into a bit of a ragu type of thing if we were desperate. So let's get these open and let's have a taste. And then I'm cooking some pasta, so we'll just kind of see if we can just. I'm cooking pasta in a wrong way, in a little bit of water, and then cooking it more like a risotto. Because what kind of happens if you do that is you end up the pasta water becomes more concentrated and it forms a sauce a lot easier. So they always kind of say with pasta, cook it in lots of water, lots of boiling salted water. But you can, because the starch is then diluted in lots of water, you can't really use the starchy pasta water to make your sauce. So the trick is to use less water, so the water collects that starch that comes out of the pasta. But anyway, let's have a look at these. So M&S and Sainsbury's. Eat it cold. How's it look? Doesn't look like there's loads of meat in there, does there? But I don't think that'll matter too much. And then eat it cold like a heathen. Bit chewy that. Like that mince should be a lot tenderer than that. Like when I cook mince, it's Paula's bit. Well, it's tender. There's no chew to it. Sainsbury's one's less chew in that, and more tomatoey as well. So I'm going to use these up on something else. But yeah, the Sainsbury's one's nicer. Who'd have guessed it? So I'm going to open those tins. No, I'm not, because I don't want to be opening up too many tins. Because if I do that, I'll have to do something with it. Whereas we can just leave those in the fridge, leave those in the cupboard for another week, for maybe another faff around, which might be part of this video, which might not. But as these kind of go, I think they're a bit rubbish. That one's alright. But obviously, my homemade one's much nicer than all of them. Which leads me to believe, like, why isn't there there probably is. You could probably get somewhere on Amazon jars or packets or tins of really good quality beef ragu. But why isn't there? Why isn't it more readily available? You know, like, wouldn't people would rather just buy some really good quality beef ragu rather than having to faff around with making their own? And you can buy bolognese sauce, but you have to add the meat to it. So why can't you just buy better quality bolognese and make your pasta dishes out of that. Like that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we're kind of like half in and half out, aren't we? You can buy frozen and fridge controlled temperature pasta dishes, or you can buy the sauce and the meat to make your own. But there's no kind of like in between, is there? So maybe there's a gap in the market for a really good quality beef ragu. Because if we're buying stewing steak, then surely to turn that into a beef ragu, like a really nice soft meat that's really kind of quite tomatoey and nice and herby. If we can do that with stewing steak, why can't we do that with beef ragu rather than naff mince? But anyway, so we'll carry on cooking the pasta, and we'll put these things back in the cupboard for use in another time, and then we'll use this Sainsbury's one because I think that's nicer, and then we'll kind of stir it into the pasta, and we'll do like a quick beef ragu, like ragu type pasta kind of thing, to see if we can turn it into something relatively nice. It's not that salty, so we can add more salt to that, and it's not that peppery, so I'll put some pepper in now. Yeah, so you put pepper in at different times of the cooking process. You want some in at the start, and then you want some at the end, because pepper or most herbs, most spices will change their flavour during the cooking process. So you kind of want to toast spices at the start, and then add them at the end as well to kind of like freshen them up, because there's nothing better than freshly ground black pepper. So you kind of don't want to lose that fragrance of that. So you put something at the start, and then you put some at the end as well to kind of bring that freshly milled black pepper taste at the end. So carry on cooking that, and then we'll add a bit of sauce and see how it turns out. Right, so the water has almost evaporated, and I don't know if you can see really, but at the bottom of the pan it's already starting to form like a bit of a sauce with just the water and the pasta and the starch that's come out of the pasta. So I'm just going to do some washing up. There's a bit of paper from something that we're recycling, so I don't want the Marks and Spencer's one. We want the, that seems like a good way to clean that. Away, need a spoon. So then what all we do now is just, definitely the Sainsbury's one, a couple of spoonfuls of that. Pasta's almost cooked, so stir it into there, which will start to form a bit of a sauce, and because we're heating it still, it's going to evaporate and become a little bit more concentrated. See, what's grubby chunks of carrot? Why on earth would you want grubby chunks of carrot in that? Should mark that down for that. It's like got big chunks of carrot in. No, it's just mince and onions in that one. There we go. So turn that up slightly. Keep stirring, stirring, stirring. Evaporate off some of the liquid. Coat the pasta. Form the sauce. I'm not going to put the cheese in. But like, relatively easy one-pan pasta this, isn't it? And give it a fork, let me eating off the spoon. See how it tastes. Do you know, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. It needs some more salt, even though we've concentrated it, and it certainly needs some more pepper, and we can turn it off now because it'll carry on cooking. It certainly needs some salt and pepper. Yeah, that doesn't look half bad, that don't look half bad, considering we've got something dry pasta and something out of a tin. It's not terrible looking, is it? But does it taste nice? I mean, there's no huge depth of flavour with it, but it's alright. It's alright as that. Like, I'm not gonna... If I came home to that, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't be disappointed if I, you know, if I was late in and I needed something quick to eat. That's certainly a good enough option. And for something that's in the cupboard, you know, like maybe you were a couple of tins of that and someone was decided that they wanted to come out for dinner, last minute you'd be able to throw something together, and I think they'd be suitably impressed. You might get a kiss at the end of the night. But anyway, so success, and then there'll be a part 2 where we do something with that, I think, but maybe that'll be another video.